Hey there. Today I want to talk about the investment options for ProntoWash. Basically, there's three different options. You have a do-it-yourself, which is really a do-it-yourself with the full faith and support of ProntoWash, the classic franchise model. And then we also have a couple of unique options. We have a partnership option, as well as we have a partnership with a fixed return. So first off, I'm Jonathan Munsell. I'm the chairman and CEO for ProntoWash. And I want to get into this topic. It's a very important topic. Right now, we're as busy as we've ever been, the busiest we've ever been in history. And I deal with a lot of this and I take a lot of phone calls and have a lot of conversations. I've done it so much that I probably should have recorded it before. This is an in-depth look at what I'm currently doing to grow the company and how you can possibly fit yourself in to that. I think it's worth your time to go through this video. Watch it all the way to the end. There's lots of gold nuggets in here. And if you're interested in investing in ProntoWash, you're in the right place at the right time. So let me give you a little more about the three different models that we have. I want everybody to be perfectly clear. Ultimately, I'm going to get into the details about the ones that are unique to us more than anything. But I think everybody understands the do-it-yourself standard franchise model. Basically, you pay a franchise fee, a licensing fee of some sort, and that gives you access to all of their intellectual property. And in our case, it's 22 years as the industry leader, the pioneers in eco-friendly, waterless wash. You're getting the brand and the support of that brand. And in our case, the number one hand car washing and detailing company in the world, you get a tremendous amount of resources, everything from everyday support, training. Basically, you're buying a successful formula and it's your opportunity to take it and implement it with a proven track record. And you avoid all the pain of having to go and do and build all this and the hundreds of thousands of dollars that it would cost you to build your own brand and get out there. So this is like one of those things. If you started from scratch, it's the most difficult thing you could probably do. I've done it several times, but ultimately when you get it right, the model, you can take it and you can franchise it. So ideally, this is what makes franchising so popular at the end of the day. It just works. And why mess with a good winning formula? Just jump in and go, right? And then it's really about applying what you've learned from the franchise. And in our case, you have fixed sites, you have mobile territories, you have area developers, and you also have market partners. So we actually have a few different pieces that you can all do yourself, all have different kind of meanings and requirements for them, different price levels, essentially, of what you get for your money. Really, at the end of the day, you're buying territory. So if you have a fixed site or a mobile area, you're one spot in the market. If you're an area developer, you're a bigger ring. And if you're a market partner, you might be a city, a state. And in some cases, and as we franchise internationally, it's a country, maybe a continent. So those are the basic models that we have. But we also have this partnership, and the partnership model, you can become a partner with us. And in most cases, it's usually 50-50. And when we do a 50-50 partnership, we split all the investment, we split all the proceeds, and there's potentially more reward, but also there's some risk there, right? At the end of the day, we're only going to split what we have in the pot. So that's a little bit different. And then there's this newer model. It's what we call a partnership with a fixed return. And this is what the future for us is leaning towards. There's a couple reasons. So we know that the industry as a whole is growing. And we, even as a franchise company, we know that we want to be out there to capitalize on that. To grow, it takes investment. Even though we're a franchise company, we know how much money there is to be made out there. And we know that we can get to it essentially faster, even before we actually onboard franchisees. The opportunities that are being presented to us right now, like we just got 24 buildings in Houston, we got multiple buildings in Atlanta, and the connections that we have are only going to fuel that growth even further. The reality is the timing couldn't be any better. Our brand is positioned perfectly, right? We have the whole eco-friendly, waterless wash, no mess. We're just in this spot in the world, and turn on the TV, and it's all about drought, fires, doom and gloom. And our world, we're actually saving water, and it's a great positioning for our brand message. And the interesting thing is COVID actually cleared a lot of headway for us. It was a difficult time. Really, at the end of the day, anybody that was a kind of a crappy, underfunded operator got cleaned out. They're gone. And then even the ones that actually might not have been in that situation, they had to give up their office buildings and locations like that because people were working from home. Now that's all kind of changed and people are getting back to work. We're able to go into a market and they're dying, right? Talk about a need to serve the market. They're dying now, these buildings, because they lost all their vendors, right? They don't know where the car wash guy went. He evaporated during COVID. In our building model, like right now, it's the hottest thing. We have buildings coming to us every single day looking for us to provide services for them. Additionally, COVID opened up apartments and condo complexes for us that didn't really exist so much before. The work at home, if we were going to office buildings and everybody was at home, we switched the model a bit. And it actually gives us a little bit of an extra day part. We can work later at the apartments and the condos as opposed to the office building. So it's nice to get that extra little push out of the vehicles, out of our mobile services, and out of these, what we call recurring service locations. The reality is things are getting back to normal and there's this pent up demand that we're capitalizing on. Additionally, you have to understand the used car market also, it blew up and all the prices went sky high and people were in weird situations where they weren't selling their cars, they wanted to buy their cars. And ultimately what's happening now is people are keeping cars longer. And since they're keeping their cars longer, they need to maintain them and not just maintain them like when you have a new car, it's easy to clean. Well, when you have an older car, you need to do higher services, higher dollar value services. And that's really something that we're noticing as we continue to move forward and this economy is the way it is. So it's something that we're going to continue to capitalize on. So with all this great stuff going on, we've had a ton of interest in the company as a whole, whether that's what the big vision in the future looks like. Additionally, we've had a ton of franchise and brokers bringing us folks. One of the reasons I think that they bring us folks is this partnership model. But even additionally, and I think it'll be even bigger in the future, is this a partnership with a fixed return. I had a guy recently that was interested in investing, doesn't necessarily want to work the business. He's more of this passive investor, absentee, semi-absentee, not an owner operator. That's like a good spot to be in as an investor owner. And it actually works well for us. So when I was speaking to this person that was looking to do an investment, he was telling me about how he lost a ton of money in his 401k and he hasn't made money in the stock market in years. And if he could just find a place that he could actually put his money and it would actually appreciate, he would appreciate that. We talked about it. And instead of having some of these markets and area developer deals that we put together are pretty significant and big, we can get in relatively inexpensive. So the profit margins are big. Instead of him being in a position where he might really win on it, but he just wanted a nice low fixed return where he knew his money was going to be safe and he was going to be able to get this kind of percentage. And I went back, I noodled it a bit. I love the idea of it. So I put together a whole package for him. And basically the way I put it together, and we'll use some rough numbers as an example, but let's take a look. So say you invest $100,000, you're going to secure that with the business and the assets of the business. So that's like kind of a nice setup in and amongst itself. It's not like you're just investing in a business a startup that someday is going to be something. This is very different from that. You're talking about a formed business. You own 50% of it and you don't even have to own 50%. It can be whatever percentage that you want, depending on the package or the situation that we're currently working on. So it depends on cities and markets and the size and what we're trying to consume into a package. So here's the example. So if you were to invest $100,000 for 50%, and that's into a single unit. So this is a fixed site or mobile territory, and it can be in any city really, but obviously we need to run the numbers. We need to check the demographics, the population, all of those things to make sure that this works. Basically, instead of having the variable return of profit and splitting profits, we actually do an owner's payment, which you can refer to as a guaranteed payment. And that is based on 10%. So if the person's investing $100,000, 10% is $10,000 a year, divide that by 12, and you basically end up with $833 a month, which we start to pay out. And we pay that out after month 3. So we get the business set up, we get it open, and then month 4, the first of month 4, we start the payment process and we pay it out. And this investment is structured in a way that it's for 5 years. So you get this, recurring payment. So basically you're going to get $50,000 back, but you still have your investment in the business. So after 5 years, you've gotten $50,000 back. We'll buy back your investment at 100,000 and we'll let you retain forever. And you can either stay in it, keep it, sell it. And there's some advantages here as we eye the future and we look at having an IPO and doing something much bigger. That 10% could be worth a tremendous amount. And even at the end of 5 years on a 10%, our business usually, even a small business, conservative numbers, is making $60,000, $70,000 a year. If that's the case, and here's an example right off of the basic sheet that we use when we're looking at a conservative mobile business, it's $64,000 at the end of the year, and you'd have $6,400. But remember, you also own the 10% equity in that business. And if we looked at, say, 5 times EBITDA, and we use that as if you've been paid $50,000 on basically essentially interest on your investment, you've been given back your 100,000. You're going to start earning essentially $6,400 moving forward, but you have this valuation at 10% of this business now. So when we look at that, it creates a very interesting opportunity. And even further, as we eye the future, and I look to take the company to an IPO in the next 3 years, and you're a partner in that, you automatically get grandfathered in. So if you're in and you're at your 50%, when we do something big, you're going to be at that. Even if you're at your 10%, you're going to have that opportunity. So we're looking to create a wealth event here for everyone as we move forward and as we put all this together. The whole goal here is to fuel our growth. We have so much opportunity and so many different metropolitan areas that we can expand to. We need people that are looking to invest, and we're happy to reward them, and we're happy to give a fixed return to do that. And it creates a great model for anybody that's wanting to make a passive investment. People always ask me, what does that look like? Do I have to be involved? Do I not have to be involved? The reality is you can be involved as much as you want or as little as you want. In our world, I have partners that are not involved at all. I have some partners that are involved, but really at a strategic level. Regardless, everybody gets P&Ls, they get balance sheets every month, and we follow a model called GROW. So the operations team uses this model, and it's goals, reality, opportunity, way forward. And we have goals for the year. They talk about the reality. They talk about the opportunities to increase sales, grow the business. And then ultimately they pick 3 things as a way forward every month that they're working on. So we have the great model for doing it. And at the end of the day, you end up with a business that's fully formed. You end up with a franchise license, which has its own value. You have ProntoWash corporate actually running it. And they're rolling up and they're actually directly reporting to Stan Weiss, our chief operating officer, and myself. So there's a lot of accountability there. It creates this great model for us to be able to grow, and for folks that are looking to make passive investments to be able to put their money somewhere that's going to be successful. Not only are they going to get a return on it, but the future is what we're looking for as we look at this IPO, that there's an opportunity there for everyone. So I really hope you consider this. I hope it helps explain it. If you have questions, please let me know. I'm actually going to do a live Q&A call where I cover some of this stuff in the coming days, but I at least wanted to give them bigger overview of what this looks like, how we put it together, and how it affects you if you were the actual investor and you were going to put your money in. If this interests you, I sincerely want you to reach out, even if we've had a call before. Now that I've had a ton of calls like this and there's lots of opportunities, but the reality is that I have a list of the cities that I want to focus on, and we have the ability to really go after this and go after it hard. So if you want to talk about it, you're serious about it, to see it on paper, I'm happy to cover it with you. Reach out, set up an appointment, use my scheduling link, and please don't hesitate to reach out whenever you think it's necessary. I wish you all the best. Let me know if you have any questions.